Hello everyone and welcome to the GameTime Sports Show on the Duquesne Student TV and the GameTime Sports YouTube channel. My name is Brendan Flato and I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. We've got a jam-packed show for you all today, ranging from a college football scandal, a private equity company confiscating phones at youth hockey games, a preview of this weekend's PIAA football championships, a sit-down interview with a college athlete, and much more. In today's version of The Untelevised, we will look at a story that is flying under the radar but could affect the youth sports world for years to come, as well as an interesting break-in and theft prior to the Egg Bowl. Having your phone at a youth hockey game is now illegal. Well, sort of. When Black Bear Sports Group started acquiring rinks and youth hockey facilities a decade ago, many skaters and fans saw life. But lately, growing numbers of families, coaches, and spectators are warning that the company's rapid expansion has turned a community sport into a business, and certainly not a cheap one. In 2024, a private equity group launched its own streaming service, Black Bear TV, replacing previously used platforms and effectively banning parents from recording or live streaming games themselves, thus enforcing a phone ban. This shift triggered immediate backlash. At many Black Bear rinks, families are now forced to pay for a monthly subscription, typically from $25 to $50 a month, just to watch their children play. Critics argue that this model places an unfair and unnecessary financial strain on families, especially when combined with already high costs for gear, registration, and travel. Beyond streaming, Black Bear has introduced additional charges that many families see as unnecessary or redundant. Adult leagues now require paying a separate registration and insurance fee on top of existing membership requirements. According to a public petition by concerned members of the hockey community, these fees, coupled with rising rink rental costs, tournament costs, and mandatory Black Bear Sports Group affiliated events, are unfair practices that risk pricing out newcomers and shrinking local participants. Furthermore, critics say that after being bought by Black Bear, some leagues lose meaningful local oversight and competition. Formerly community-driven clubs and independent leagues are getting taken over by Black Bear's for-profit model that leaves families with fewer real choices. Money is the only issue. Some parents and players claim that after the private equity group takes over a rink, maintenance standards slip, ice quality deteriorates, locker rooms and facilities degrade, and basic upkeep is neglected. For families, that's especially painful. They're left paying more and often getting less. As one parent claimed, the rink looks worse. Dirty locker rooms, poor ice, minimal maintenance, cold benches, broken showers. These are all examples of how Black Bear is continuing the ruin of youth hockey. The objections to Black Bear bring attention to a broader fear that a sport built on community, volunteers, and the love of the game is being reshaped into a business, where success is measured in subscriptions, fees, and profit margins. Critics warn that this could squeeze some families out and reduce grassroots participation and destroy the accessibility that once defined youth hockey. In conclusion, when you consolidate leagues, arenas, streaming, insurance, and tournaments under a single corporate umbrella, in addition to tying everything into a pay-for-play and pay-to-watch models, the sport becomes less about the kids and more about the revenue. And this, unfortunately, is just what Black Bear Sports Group wants. College football's rivalry week never ceases to amaze. In the latest unexpected turn of one of the sport's most chaotic rivalries, former Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin claimed during an interview on SEC Network that Missouri State's fans broke into the team's locker room at the Bulldogs' Davis-Wade Stadium twice ahead of Friday afternoon's showdown between his Rebels and Mississippi State. The first incident occurred around 10 p.m., according to Kiffin, who said Ole Miss had secret cameras in its locker room and that he had reported the initial break-in to Mississippi State. The presumed Mississippi State fans returned once more at 3 a.m. and stole Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss' jersey, according to Kiffin. In an interview with Marty Smith, the coach said, "I guess you expect nothing less from these people," while gesturing towards the Mississippi State student section. Marty Smith is one of ESPN's most regarded is regarded as one of the best sports reporters out there. Smith was in town to cover the Lane Kiffin coaching story when this one stumbled into his hands. In a tweet, Smith said, "Lane Kiffin tells me on the field pregame that Mississippi State students broke into the Ole Miss locker room at 3 a.m. and stole Trinidad Chance's jersey. The great Ken Krasen, Ole Miss equipment czar, set up covert security cameras because, of course, he did." And he finished his tweet with "Egg Bowl" with an exclamation point. Video evidence of both locker room break-ins was recorded by the culprits and posted to Snapchat. According to Kiffin, the team informed Mississippi State of the first break-in, to which they were told security would be placed outside the locker room. Based on the fact that there was once again another break-in at 3 a.m., one could assume that that did not happen. People also are calling into question whether or not this was a setup by Kiffin and Ole Miss to create a distraction from talks about him leaving for LSU, which he eventually did. Whether it was real or a setup, this scandal was definitely something for college football fans to talk about. This week, it's the PIAA Football State Championships. For today's PA High School Sports Update, we will break down everything you need to know leading up to the biggest weekend in high school football. 12 of the top schools in Pennsylvania will converge on Cumberland Valley's Chapman Field for the biggest game of their careers. Let's start with the 1A classification, where Clarendon faces a familiar foe in Bishop Goldfield. The Bears will be making their 8th trip to the PIAA final. Clarendon's last two appearances in 2014 and 2016 came against District 6 champion Bishop Goldfield. The Marauders, who are defending Class A champions, have won 5 state championships since 2014. Bishop Goldfield beat Clarendon 19-18 in 2014 and 17-0 in 2016 after winning 4 state championships from 2009 to 2012. In the AA classification, Southern Columbia looks to reclaim bragging rights over Farrell. The Tigers are the most successful program in the history of the PIAA championship, and they will be looking to make their 23rd appearance in state and looking to win their 23rd in the state final. Southern Columbia has 14 titles to its name and will compete, and it will have another opportunity to knock another milestone off its list in the 2A final by beating Farrell. The District 10 champion Steelers are one of the few teams that can say they've had the Tigers' number at the state level. But that was many years ago. Farrell and Southern Columbia met in the 1995 and 1996 state finals, with the Steelers grinding out a 6-0 and 14-12 victories respectively. Class 3A brings us a rematch between Avonworth and Northwestern Lehigh. Recently, the Antelopes have been knocking on the door of the state championship. Avonworth reached the Class 2A title game in 2019 and the 4A final last season, losing to Northwestern Lehigh in overtime. This year in the Class 3A, the Tigers were also able to navigate their way back to state final, making it their 3rd straight appearance. In Class 4A, Southern Lehigh and Twin Valley bring new blood to Chapman Field. Southern Lehigh and Twin Valley will meet in the 4A title game and provide a breath of fresh air for the state on the state level. Neither program had ever reached the final before this season. Twin Valley was able to knock off Appaquidda in the semifinals, who has been a staple in the state final. Class 5A brings us to one of the most anticipated games of the weekend, with Bishop McDevitt and Roman Catholic renewing last year's OT thriller. Roman Catholic reached the PA 5A final for the first time last season, but the Carolites went on to lose to Bishop McDevitt in overtime. McDevitt won the 2A championship in 1995 and the 4A championship in 2022 to go along with last year's 5A victory. And finally, the 6A championship brings a Week 1 rematch between LaSalle High School and Pittsburgh Central Catholic. LaSalle opened the season by traveling across the state to the historic Wolverina in Turtle Creek to face off with Pittsburgh Central Catholic. The Explorers picked up a 23-6 win and will once again play against the Vikings with a state title on the line this time. LaSalle has made 2 appearances in the state finals, beating State College in 2009 and losing to North Allegheny in 2010. The Vikings have won 4 state championships, but haven't won since they knocked off Parkland in the 4A championship game in 2015. Since the PIAA expanded to 6 classes in 2016, the Vikings dropped both of their appearances to St. Louis Prep. The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference, better known as the PSAC, is the premier NCAA Division II conference. With the NCAA Men's Division II tournament reaching Elite Eight, the 2025 PSAC champs are still dancing. This is where we head for our PA College Sports Update. The Gannon Golden Knights won their program's first ever PSAC conference title this year with impressive wins over Westchester and Millersville. In the tournament, number 6 ranked Gannon University picked up wins against number 3 ranked Bentley and number 2 ranked Franklin Pierce after receiving a first round bye. Against Franklin Pierce, Gannon started the game strong when Serve Often found the back of the net in the 16th minute of the match. In the 49th minute, Franklin Pierce finally responded to tie the game up at 1. But in the 77th minute, it was Enzo Recca who put home a goal to send Gannon through to the Elite Eight. Goalkeeper Andre Morris also played well for the Golden Knights, finishing the match with 7 saves. Gannon will look to keep his historic season alive as they face Southern New Hampshire December 6th on the road. Pittsburgh Riverhounds faced off with FC Tulsa last weekend in the USL Championship match. This is where we head for our PA Pro Sports Update. Pittsburgh Riverhounds are a professional soccer club competing in the United Soccer League, better known as the USL. Riverhounds captured their first ever USL Championship title, defeating FC Tulsa in a dramatic penalty shootout after a scoreless 120 minutes in the 2025 final. With the win capped a remarkable postseason run in which the Hounds did not concede a single goal in regulation. Goalkeeper Eric Dick delivered a standout performance, making 5 saves during the match and stopping one of Tulsa's attempts in the penalty shootout to secure a 5-3 PK victory. The disciplined Pittsburgh backline continued its playoff shutout streak, frustrating Tulsa's attack throughout the tightly contested final. The championship marks a historic milestone for the Riverhounds, celebrating their first league title since joining the league 26 years ago. The city of Pittsburgh announced a parade is scheduled for December 4th on Grant Street, where fans will have the opportunity to meet the players and a chance to view the club's newly claimed hardware. We are now going to be joined by Colin Minahan from the Iona men's water polo team. Colin played his high school water polo for Germantown Academy, where he scored on the game-winning goal on GAPC Day during his sophomore year. In high school, he was also named to the All-Interact team multiple times, and as well as playing on the GA's baseball team. Now a freshman at Iona University, Colin scored his first college goal in his team's win over Connecticut, as well as recording his first career assist in a game over Brown University. Let's now take a look at the goal, followed by the assist.
They're going to attack here, and attack they will. Shot floated up. Oh, what a nice touch shot. That one was Colin Minahan. Little floater over the goalie. Taking advantage of maybe Con being out of position, just floated it up there nicely for the 19th goal of the day.
All right, you saw the goal and the assist there, and we are now joined by Colin Minahan himself. Colin, how you doing today?
I'm good, Brandon. How are you?
I'm doing well. So we're going to start off here with a couple of questions. For somebody who maybe isn't as familiar with water polo, as a sport, could you kind of tell them a little bit about what it is?
So water polo is like your mixture between soccer and basketball. Yes, it's in like an all deep pool, and you're trying to score more goals, 2 goals, very similar to soccer, but you're trying to shoot the ball with your arm into the net.
And then what first got you interested in playing water polo, and when did you realize water polo was something you wanted to pursue seriously?
So in 6th grade, my math teacher offered me an extra percentage on my math quiz if I played water polo instead of football. And I took it and I fell in love with it. And then growing up, I wanted to play college baseball. But once I got to my junior year, I realized how good I'd be at the sport and ultimately completely switched all my efforts into playing college water polo.
You committed to Iona during your senior year. What made you choose Iona for college water polo?
There was a bunch of different reasons. When I came to visit, the guys were all very welcoming. Like, it felt like a real culture, a really strong culture, and the brother bond. And also, you saw the coaching staff, and you knew that all coaches believed in every single one of their players and tried to turn them into the best people they could be.
And what's the biggest adjustment from high school water polo to now playing in college?
I think when you look at it and you're like lining up and you're looking at the guys across from you, I think it's the size. I mean, size, you're playing against men instead of like teenagers. You're playing against guys who are 22 to 24 years old. Every guy is 6'2". Everyone's 200 pounds. And then you look at it, the conditioning, everyone's in the best shapes of their lives. Everyone can go up and down the pool, no problem. And shooting velocity is so different, where you don't really get to see the ball. Some of these guys throw it so hard.
You're listed as an attacker. How would you personally describe your playing style?
I would say I'm pretty aggressive. I play pretty angry, just like the style of play. I go for steals. I'm go for the shot blocks, do what I need to do to help the team, specifically on defense. And then when we're on offense, just try and use my speed to my advantage.
And then this season being your freshman season, you scored your first goal against Connecticut College. Walk us through that play and how you felt seeing the ball go past the goalie.
It was definitely a surreal feeling. I mean, waiting almost half the season to get my shot, where you had to wait a bunch of games because they were all really tight and the competition's really good. And once you're a freshman in college, you're kind of bottom of the litter. So getting that opportunity and taking care of business there, it was just a smile just kept running through my face. I was so excited. It felt like all the hard work actually paid off.
Just to kind of follow up on that one, we watched the video. You kind of like lofted the ball over the goalie. What's kind of like the strategy there? Like when you take a different type of shot, like throwing it as fast as you can, or like kind of lofting it over the goalie like that?
Similar to like a changeup in baseball. Like some guy, like all the guys you think they're gonna try and throw it past you, and then if you throw a pump fake, get the goalie jumped, you can kind of just like flick it over his head, kind of a cheeky move. But most of the time it works if you time it correctly. Just a no spin, throw it up there type of shot.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's probably pretty difficult for the goalie to jump in the water.
Yeah,
it's probably tough.
Yeah, 100%. It's a pretty brutal shot for them if they're already beat.
And then you mentioned in that last answer, it's kind of like a change up in baseball. You played baseball in high school. Is there anything that translates between the two sports for you?
I would say the throwing mechanics, like it's a lot of throwing. It's a lot of shoulder work. Just like when I was a PO at GA, just all the throwing I would do. Similar to here, although it's a little less like shooting. You're swimming every day. Your shoulders are getting worn out, but they're also building strength. So similar to like when we would be in the bullpen getting ready, your shoulder's already ready. Like it's built for that. All the conditioning we do, all the passing we do, it makes you ready for all of it.
And then what are some of your favorite memories of growing up playing water polo or just playing sports in general? Because you've played a bunch growing up.
Yeah, I played quite a few, especially with you too. Obviously, you mentioned the GAPC Day game winner. That was one of the greatest feelings I've ever felt because I fought for a starting spot that entire year. You're playing in the biggest game of the season, it's the only game that matters, and to be the youngest guy in the pool and the senior's year on a high note, that's all that mattered to me. Seeing my coach's smile, how happy he was for me and for the team really carried us a long way. And then you got to give credit to GA baseball senior year. That was a blast. the whole season. I mean, we were supposed to not win a game in the Interac, and then we go on a run, unfortunately lose in the state semifinal to the team who ended up winning it. But that whole season was such a culture change for the entire program. And to like watch these guys grow now, it's like I'm really proud of all of them.
Yeah, you just had a pretty good first game in the Interac season.
Yeah, we did.
That was not too bad for you guys.
Yeah, the second one when I pitched against SCH, I didn't do too well, but it's all right.
And then what would you tell a kid growing up who dreams of water polo in college?
I would tell them that ultimately they have a choice to get in the water every day or not, because you win the battle by getting in the water and then learning from that. The hardest part of like getting ready for practice every day is actually just in the water. It's more of the mental battle. Like, okay, I'm going to go to work today, like work my butt off, get better, do all these things. And you just got to keep going at it. You're going to feel like you're not doing anything at all, and it's a waste of time. But ultimately, the longevity of you being in the water, it's going to pay off. And
then finally, there might be right or wrong answers here. What's your go-to hype song before a game?
I can think of a few. If I'm in a mood where I'm like just trying to like stay light or anything, Cecilia by what's the name? Yeah, Simon and Garfunkel. Or if I'm trying to get myself like really tuned in, The Chain by. You're gonna have to help me. Fleetwood Mac. Sorry. Yeah, I'm struggling there.
I'm not the guy to ask for who music is by. I'm terrible at that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Colin, for joining us.
Of course.
Good luck in the future seas at Iona, and best of luck with college.
Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, guys.
And that will do it for us here today on the GameTime Sports Show. My name is Brendan Flato. Thank you to everybody helping in the back with the show today. Tune in again next week, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, every Tuesday. And have a great week, everybody.